Hey guys, this is Rocking3 bringing another commentary Forza 5. And I wanted to do a little bit of a follow-up video on some tunes that I had. Originally did a Toyota GT86 C-class. Turned out to be a pretty good car at the time that I released the video. It was not completely finalized. And even though it's always a living, breathing adjustments that I make to every single car that I have, depending on what track I'm on, I wanted to tell you guys how it ended up. And then I also had a request to put my tune out here for the Ferrari F50 A-class. And just so you guys have a little bit of idea of where these are at, these are both on the Bernese Alps. The Toyota GT86 in the C-class, when I first qualified for it, it was about 76th, and I haven't raced it for probably about a week or so. It's down into the low 200s. As I'm making this video, so it still needs some tuning to do, but it's actually still pretty good. And then the Ferrari F50 that I'm going to show you guys, it's an A-class, is currently 177th on the Bernese Alps as well. That one was in the top 80, I think, when I got done with it. I'm pretty happy with the car. It actually is pretty drivable, pretty easy driving, and put some pretty good track times down on a lot of A-class cars. So first I wanted to go take a look at my C-class Toyota 86. Just want to show you guys where it ended up at. So we're going to go through these setups real quick. And let's do an upgrade. And the same parts that I had before are on there. It's going to be all the suspension, all the performance handling, all the drivetrain, tires and rims. I think you can do equivalents for that. Full upgrades on the tires, and the compound is probably the one. Yep, didn't quite get all the way up there any further. I wanted to go there, obviously. In the C-class, it's about as far as you can go. But what I really wanted to show you guys, and you guys can see the parts that I bought in the other video, I wanted to show you how I ended up on my tuning. The gearing is set up for Bernese Alps right now, so you'll have to play with that depending on what track you're on. The alignment turned out pretty good. I had to adjust this toe. I had to move it up one to make it turn in a little bit better. And I think the caster went 1.1 up as well, so we're at 4.9. Just trying to make the car turn in a little bit better. I had a little bit of a hard time getting turned in without oversteering. Front lines, I think those are pretty much unchanged. I did make the Toyota GT86 a little bit stiffer on the front and the rear. You can bring those down if you want to, just to make it a little bit more controllable. The ride height, you can take this all the way down to 4.4. I just leave it at 4.7 because I hit a lot of rumble strips, so I want to make sure that I don't go off the track doing that. This one stayed pretty close to the same. I think I moved the rear stiffness up a little bit, but those are the numbers around that. You can definitely play with this. You can take the downforce all the way off if you want to. I just left it right in the middle. If you want it to go a little bit faster, top speed, it doesn't really affect the handling. You can bring that all the way down if you want. Brake force, don't think I ever dialed that part of it in. And then I do want to make an adjustment here real quick. I'm going to show you guys that a lot of times on these higher revving engines, lower is better. So I'm going to bring that down to 25-30. So if I was to go back out there, change the brakes, change the differential, I'd probably get it back in the top 100. I just didn't spend a lot of time after I got that done. I've done a few multiplayer races with it, but nothing fantastic. So that's how that one ended up. I had a request to look at my Ferrari F50, and I wanted to mention who requested that because I just wanted to say I appreciate that. His name is B Montrosity, the letter B Montrosity, and checked out his channel, and it's actually pretty interesting as well. So if you want to take a look at his as well, it's pretty cool. I'll put that in the links below. And I was going to the Ferrari. My garage isn't real large, but it is big enough that makes it hard to find a car. So I do that by class. All right, so the Ferrari F50 is a A-class, 700 maxed out. So I'm going to have all the parts here. Let me make sure I went completely light with it. I won't show you all those, but I did buy all those. I bought all of those. Bought all the race components. I should add that. So the question is, did I change wheels? I believe I did. Yep, change wheels. Went to the max on both of those. And looks like I only had one choice on the tires. That's kind of the only thing that varies for me. And then one compound up. So not quite all the way up there. And I do have this set up as, you can go out and download it by my name, or it's called Fast Ferrari. You can find it out there as well if you want to just find my setup and download it. Let's see, I want to make sure that I did both wings. Pretty sure I did, because it's not a top speed Ferrari, it's just a really good handling car. Alright, and then I don't believe I bought much here. And I'll go through these real quick just to show you guys what I didn't buy. Okay, I did buy that. Nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing there. May have bought one or two up this way, so bear with me a second. And that's a no, 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 and no. Okay. So from a parts perspective, that should be all that there is. So I will go to the tuning section. You can see the top speed on the left side is 180, which is not super fast for these cars, but you'll see my lateral G's are really high, so you can really handle with this car. I had a little problem with the braking on it, but I have that fixed out of it as well. I may have to re-put that out there. I might have to do the setup manager again. But the tires are pretty much normal there. You can play with the gearing all that you want. I did move the toe way out here to 0.3, and I had a little bit of problem with the back end a little bit, so I put the toe to 0 in the back. I had a little bit of out of the exit breaking loose a little bit, so that seemed to have fixed it pretty well. Pretty happy with the rest of that. About midway on the anti-roll bars. And you see the distance, the ride height differences between the two. I don't usually like to go much lower than that. I haven't had any problems with the bottoming out. As far as I know, it doesn't, but there may be a track or two that it may have some issues with, so be careful with that. Might have to move that back up. Put that in the middle. This was something I play with it quite a bit. I had to do a full rear downforce on this. You can play with the downforce a little bit, but I will probably suggest you to keep the rear as far to the right as possible. I had a problem with it taking too wide of turns, so I had to bring some of the downforce off the front to make it kind of turn in a little bit. I was having some issues with that. If you're going to play with this part of it, I would move them the same. So if you're going to move them down equally would be my suggestion. The braking on this was a little bit higher. It does a good job as far as not sliding or not spinning the tires at all or not skidding with the brakes, so I was pretty happy with that. The differential is something I had to play with a lot. I had this moved way down, and I'm not saying that it can't move down even further, but you can see that I'm pretty low on that with the 15 and the 10. I'm going to go ahead and save this out here. I'm going to rename it. Let me see if I can just put it right back. There we go. We'll just override it. So you guys can find that file out there as well if you just want to go out there and download the tune. One thing that you can do, this is a really easy way to get all the parts that I have, is go ahead and just download the tune. Say, yes, I want to have all the parts. And then when you go to tune it, you can say remove this tune. But the cool part is you get to keep the parts. So now you know what I bought. So instead of going through the pain and buying all those parts like I did, you can do that. So pretty happy with this car. It's got some pretty good times on a lot of tracks. I know I had a couple of top 100 times. I think I even had one like in the 50, 55 range. Now keep in mind, I use a controller. I don't do the shift with clutch. So I'm using just the manual buttons. It's just a little bit too difficult for me on the controller to use clutch. I'm going to try to practice with it a little bit and see if I can do it. But as far as having a top 100 time, since I don't use the clutch, it's a pretty strong car. So if you are someone who can actually use the clutch, you're going to get even better times than I can. But anyway, thanks a lot for listening, guys. I hope you enjoy these tunes. And I had a suggestion also to work on a '08 Dodge Viper as well. And I will work on that. I'll see if I can get that tuned in. I understand that that's a pretty good leaderboard car as well. And I'll get that out there as well. Thanks a lot for listening, guys. And we'll catch you later.